Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Princella. I am a flight attendant working with a major US airline company, and I've been away for a while. I am currently living in Ghana, even though I work with a major US airline company. I've actually been away from flying for a while, but fortunately, unfortunately, your girl is going back to work. It's that time, guys, and I know you haven't seen a May schedule reaction, but there's a reason why. So let's jump into it. Your girl is going back to work, and honestly, I have several fears going back. It's not that I don't want to be a flight attendant anymore or I don't want to do the job anymore, but it's just the fact that being away for so long, because I was away for about 18 months, and now that I'm going back, I'm like, ugh. It just feels some way, right? And one of my fears is actually going back for training because of how long I was away. I missed my annual or retraining that we do, right? Just to get like recertified, because we need licenses to be able to operate the doors on the aircraft that we do. I had to get recertified, right? And I missed the time that I was supposed to do the regular period ones. So because of that, I have to go for a different type of training, which is supposed to include the one that I missed and then the current year we're in right now, right? So essentially I need to get current with my license, and just going back to do that, training was intense. If you don't know, I have a full playlist in the description box below detailing my experience during flight attendant training, and it was a lot. Not that it was difficult and I couldn't get the content or grasp the content or anything. It was just exhausting and stressful. That's all I can remember. But the whole point is that going back to do retraining again is just, it just brings back PTSD, okay? I've been traumatized. That's the point. Aside from that, I'm going to Atlanta, and that's where I had my initial training at, right? The first time that I had my recertification after I got on the line, it was in Salt Lake City, and the vibe at that center was more chill, more laid back. But coming back to Atlanta and just thinking back to training, initial training, how things were, it's like, do I really want to be here right now? But your girl is now New York based, okay? So I have to go to Atlanta. I did have a choice though to choose between Atlanta and Salt Lake City, but I chose to go with Atlanta because of the timing and the proximity to where I was going to be in the States while training was up. So, and I just wanted to get through training over and done with, because there's no point waiting, okay? Either way, I'm still going to have to go through it, so why not just jump into it and then get it over and done with? I can figure out what my schedule will be moving forward. I have a list here, so that leads me to the next point. Unfortunately, although I'm in New York, and New York is supposed to be a more junior base in terms of the fact that people get off reserve faster in a way, I'm still going to be on reserve. I believe New York right now, 4 years and above, you're off of reserve, and I'm just starting my 4th year, so I haven't completed my 4th year yet. So I'm like 3 years and 2 months, or 4 months, 3 months in right now, and I'm still going to be on reserve, unfortunately. And unlike Seattle, where I could hold all weekends off, I believe with New York I can hold partial weekend off. So that's something that's new, but that's my biggest fear. One of my biggest fears, guys, going back on reserve. I know we're all aware that being a flight attendant, you're going to be on reserve, especially when you're junior and all that, but it's never a fun thing to do. And for me, my issue is not necessarily being on reserve, right? It's the fact that I want to work and get it over and done with. The anxiety of not knowing, just waiting and waiting and waiting, I don't like that vibe. So that's what stresses me out, and like talking about it right now is giving me a headache, you know? Not me being dramatic, okay? So your girl is still back on reserve, and commuting internationally, because of the amount of flights that we have daily going out of Accra to JFK, I was hoping that if I wasn't on reserve, I was gonna hope for trips or bid for trips that had like late sign-ins, because I need at least 2 flights to base to work, right? And the last plan B option should get me to base at least 1 hour before the start of my trip, my rotation. So our flight out of Accra to JFK, it's at, I think it departs at like what, 9 a.m. or something like that. I think it's 9, right? But I arrive at base at like 5 p.m., right? So what I was hoping for was that I was going to bid for late sign-in times for trips like after 6 p.m. so that my 2 flights or my plan A, plan B flights for a commuter would be, if let's say I want to start my rotation on a Monday, I'll probably leave on Sunday morning, and then my plan B flight will be Monday morning, right? So that Monday morning gets me to base Monday evening at JFK, and then my trip can start at 6 p.m., right? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll talk about it more when I talk about my schedule reaction videos. But that's my goal and my strategy in terms of work. With regards to doing all that, the fact that I'm gonna be on reserve again, I don't like it, because reserve is more restrictive. Because reserve starts at literally 12 midnight of the day of, I literally would have to go in 2 days before, okay? So I can get the plan A, plan B. Unless I want to Z or fly on other airlines, right? Then I can strategize and get, I think I can get like KLM or so, that goes through Amsterdam to JFK, and that flight is at 10 p.m. that evening. So what I can do is that I'll go in I'll talk about all this. It's a lot, but I think we need a separate video for my schedule and my strategy for work, right? So yes, your girl is becoming a flight attendant again. We're going back on the line. I don't know how to feel. The other thing is, because I will be commuting internationally, your girl is about to join the crash pad life, okay? I did get a crash pad. I was actually in the States last week. I just got back like a few days ago, a day or two ago, right? And I sorted out my training, I sorted out my crash pad, I got a crash pad, I got a key, I got my bed and everything set up. The goal is to use it as little as possible, because I want to spend most of my time in Accra, and I'm also not planning on working so much. I just want to work enough to be able to save, do retirement investments, and then invest. That's all my goal is. I'm not trying to overwork myself to do the most, because I have a baby now and I got responsibilities, okay? I don't have time, okay? So I'm hoping to use the crash pad as minimal as possible, but the lady that runs the place is super cool, super chill. I like her vibe. She runs the place, and we love somebody who runs the place, because I know that nothing is going to be out of place, okay? So I love that. But let's jump into schedule, right? With regards to schedule, going back and becoming a flight attendant again, I was scheduled for training between 4th and 5th May. So I flew in on the 3rd of May. I did my training. It was a 2-day training, requalification training. So I'm done with that. And then I flew back to Ghana on the 7th, and I arrived on the 8th, the morning of the 8th. So we're done with training for May, and then I'm back on reserve. So because of when my training was scheduled for the month of May, during, you know how we bid for our schedules the month prior, right, in April. So the schedule for May, I would have been able to bid for my schedule for May in April, but I was inactive in April. So as a result, I couldn't bid for a schedule for May. So coming back and being active in May, all I got assigned was reserve. So essentially, if you're trying to become a flight attendant, what that means is that, assuming that I was off of reserve, right, or I was too senior to be assigned reserve, then I wouldn't have to be assigned anything at all for May. I would have had the opportunity to go on our swap board or open time system to pick up any trips that I wanted to work. I can still do it now, in addition to the reserve that I was assigned. But because I was junior enough to hold reserve, I was put on reserve for 6 days, right? But I'm currently in the business of trying to swap that reserve for trips. So if you're watching this video, hey, you know me, let me know, hook me up, okay? I'm trying to swap my reserve for a trip, okay? That's what I'm trying to do. But being in New York is actually quite interesting, because when I was in Seattle, access to TOs or international trips or Europe and Africa and stuff like that, they seemed so rare because we didn't have so many of them. It was hard to come by them. But literally in the process of trying to get rid of my reserve, I got assigned an international trip just like that, right? And although I let it go because of the deal that I made was supposed to be a certain way, that ended up not being what I thought it was. So I had to let the international trip go. But beyond that, it felt good knowing that there's so many international trips available at this base that you can easily come by them. Although it might take a little bit of finesse and work, but it's accessible, like it's reachable. It feels reachable compared to Seattle, where it felt non-existent. Like I had a Chinese visa and I never saw that land. I never had an opportunity to go there, right? So, and I never even saw it on the board to even attempt to pick it up. So yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But strategy for work. Initially, my goal was to work 3 days a week, commute for a day and a half or 2 days, and then have 2 days off, right? So that's my goal. But looking at it for this month, I'm thinking of just working the 6 days straight and then probably getting a week off and then working on the 6 days. I'm thinking of doing that now. But for the month of May, for sure, I will do the full 6 days. So I'm gonna commute. I'm planning on commuting on Sunday. I'm planning on commuting on Monday, working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 days straight, and then coming back since it's just reserve. So it's possible that moving forward, I might do my 6 days reserve, and then from there, it's gonna be 3 days every week, right? And then try and drop as much as I can. But I'm thinking from the perspective of if I'm not able to drop anything, what would I do? I'll try and limit my trips to 3 days a week, and then hopefully I only get three-day trips that are high credit enough to not have me getting more trips. But fingers crossed, you know, this job, anything can happen, but worst case scenario, I'll just go and work and then suck it up and just come back, right? Returning back from leave, I feel rusty, right? Towards the end of my leave though, I have flown a lot, so I've been on aircrafts and stuff like that, and training kind of woke me up. The first day was difficult. I'm gonna talk about that a bit, but the first day was a lot, but I've flown a lot, so I've seen, and there's been so many changes that I feel all new again because I've been away from work as long as I've been working. So I started working, and about 18 months in, I went off. And I've been away for about 18 months. So it's kind of interesting how that turned out. But it wasn't planned or anything, but I felt brand new again. It felt like I'm like coming back as a brand new flight attendant, somebody who literally just came out of training. That's how it feels. But I feel like once I do a few domestic trips here and there, I'm gonna get in my groove. My goal also being in New York, because I vlog my experience and share with you all, I plan on working a lot of international trips because I'm gonna commute internationally. I'm trying to limit the amount of flights that I hop on and off of. So I'm gonna aim for international trips because typically those are just 2 flights, one to go, one to come back, so that I'm not jumping back and forth and flying like 2 to 4, 3 legs a day. The thing is that the hardest part or the strenuous part of this job on our bodies when it comes to the altitude changes and pressure changes is usually at takeoff and landing. That's when the pressure changes is felt, to me, is more impactful, or I feel the intensity of my body the most, right? Once we get to cruising altitude, I think it's pretty smooth sailing. The only thing I have to worry about will be radiation from the sun. But beyond that, the pressure changes can be exhausting and tiring. So my goal essentially is that if I aim for those international trips, then I'm probably essentially flying once to work, flying 2 flights, and then coming flying back. So flying 4 times essentially within the week, right? So that's the goal for me. But that's it for scheduling. So let's talk about retrain and requalification training. Oh my God. It took a minute. I'm not gonna lie. It took a minute. I felt like I was brand new again. I did study the materials. Like, we were given the materials to prepare. And it's not like I wasn't prepared, you know. I knew the stuff, but I was so anxious and so much in my head and fear of failing or making errors that I was just going crazy. I had to repeat one door, and it was the 717. It was the Boeing 717 aircraft, and it wasn't even the tail cone. It wasn't even the hardest part. It was the one left, and it wasn't because I didn't know the component or the process or anything, guys. If I told you what it was, you would laugh. It was the viewing window, okay? I thought it was a bad exit. That's what it was. I thought it was a bad exit, okay? I thought it was a bad exit, and it wasn't. I was so mad at myself because it was so simple. But that's forgotten. What matters is that I got the other 14, okay, out of the 15. But yeah, the first day was a lot. The first day I was very stressed out and I was so much in my head and I was so scared. I honestly considered a plan B. Like, I always need a plan B. I can't be out here with no plan B, guys. So I literally considered my options. I was like, okay, my God, if I'm not able to get recertified, what are my options? Do I start looking for another job? Should I start looking for another job? Should I start applying? Should I prepare? Like, what are we doing? Okay. But I was just being dramatic. Preparation wise, you're given materials that you're supposed to study, and I watched the videos of the doors and how we operate them and stuff like that. And the qualification or recertification is not only about the doors, it's about other stuff. But the doors is usually the major part because we have a lot more aircrafts than other airlines sometimes, and that makes our training more robust and more convoluted, or it's a lot more doors or windows that you have to touch, right? Because we have a lot more aircrafts. So that's where the complication comes in. But aside from that, once I'm confident about my doors, everything else we can figure it out, right? So yeah, I was tense, and I don't like EMBs. That's a portion of our training that deals with like medical emergencies and threats and stuff like that, right? And I personally have fear about that part of our training, because not because it's hard or it's complicated or it's not doable. It's because I'm traumatized from my initial training. Okay, we have so much drama happening sometimes that it was like, I don't even want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. I can't believe I have to redo this every other year or whatever. Okay, so it was a lot. But this time around, I actually enjoyed it. I think I did it so many times that I actually got comfortable and got over that fear that I had from initial training. Because the first day we went through 6 scenarios, and because of the number of people that were getting retrained, we each did 3 scenarios, right? However, the second day we were only 3 people, so, and it's 6 scenarios or 6 situations, right? Or 6 events, and all 3 of us did all 6 events. So I did everything you can think of. So literally all the scenarios, the combined, I did like 9, right? So I think because I did so many, it made me more comfortable with the process, right? Not because I knew what to expect or anything. That's not it at all. But it's because the more you do it, the more you build confidence. And I think the more you build and interact with the people that you're doing it with, it becomes more like your crew, right? So that actually, I think it got better the second day. The second day was a breeze. The second day, I was done with my doors and like that. Like, there's one door that we're timed, right? And we're supposed to get through it or go through the evacuation process with that door in like 15 seconds. I did mine in like 10 seconds. Okay, so I was breezing through it. Okay, your girl was like Day 2 was cool, but day 1, I was sweating. I was so scared, guys. It was just too much. But I got through day 1. I studied the materials, watched the videos, and did whatever I could to prepare myself for it. Me going back, I honestly felt that I wasn't ready. I felt like I was too distracted by all the other stuff that I had to worry about or deal with. Day 2, I didn't repeat any door. And the thing is that we did a full training, all doors, day 1, and then day 2 we did other doors, like some doors again, and did other stuff with those doors. So it was a fully robust training. It was intense, but I'm actually glad I did, because I feel like it kind of rebuilt my confidence and got me to the point where I'm like, okay, we can do this. But I feel like I have to work like a few domestic trips here and there on a 737 to get me situated. But I don't know what to expect going back in. I do have uniforms and everything, and I'm actually packing. I'm gonna show that to you guys in probably my vlogs and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm actually packing, or I've packed, and I'm getting ready to start work. So the long story short is that I will be starting flying again on the 19th. That's when my reserves start, 19th May. I'm hoping to swap it into trips, but if anything, I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.